Hello, chat. I know it has been a while since I filmed a Kat Yaps podcast episode. I really apologize for that. I wasn't sure. Well, I didn't know what to really talk about for one thing, and also I post a lot of gaming videos, so it's like I don't know if I should just post random podcast episodes in between that, but you know what? We just do whatever. We do whatever. So I have some interesting things to go over today. I will put a disclaimer that I am somewhat talking about religious things. If that bothers you, you can click off. I'm not trying to proselytize or convert you. It just happens to relate to what I have experienced lately, and you'll see what I mean by that if you stick around. But I don't have a script. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind, and we'll see what comes out of this. But yeah, so I'm gonna get right into it. So if you don't know, I have an account called Orthodox Kat on Twitter. I used to be Protestant. If you don't know what Protestant is, just put it very, very simply. If a person is Christian, but not Catholic or Orthodox, then they would classify as Protestant. That's the most simple way to put it, I guess. Very brief church history. I don't teach about Orthodox stuff because I'm not qualified, but I can mention this, because everybody that's Catholic or Orthodox understands this. So there was one church until the schism in 1054, where the church split into Catholics and Orthodox, and then from Catholics came Protestants. So that's kind of the timeline. If you're not aware, that you just need to know what the term Protestant means if you don't know what Orthodox is. If you don't know what an Orthodox Christian is, it's not Catholic. If you compare Catholics and Orthodox to each other, you might make somebody mad. It's not Catholic, but it's probably the most similar thing you could think of in terms of having priest, having the services be very similar, confession, all that. So just to give you an idea of what I'm speaking about before I actually start this, but I have an account called Orthodox Kat where I was posting about my journey to becoming Orthodox, and it's almost been a year. It'll be a year in April on Holy Saturday, which is great, But I was posting about how I found the church, and then my year-long journey as a catechumen, which is when you're being taught in the church. They're teaching you about it, making sure that's what you want to do before, they actually make you Orthodox and all that stuff. So yeah, I've had it for a little while, and honestly, I haven't really run into any drama this whole time I've had my account, but we are now in Lent, which is a 40-day fasting period where people focus on fasting, prayer, introspection, trying to, I guess, look inside yourself and get right with God and just examine what you need to fix. Kind of a period of contemplation, if you will. So this is actually my first Lent as an Orthodox Christian, and yeah, it feels like Lent because lots of things are happening, and a lot of them are just either not great or I'm just attracting drama for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyway, this mainly started. I've kind of experienced a little bit of harassment. I've been getting hate, which I haven't really gotten before. It's kind of ironic. I haven't really gotten this stuff on my VTuber account, unless it was that Balatro video where I had guys freaking out over the fact that I was learning the game, but besides that, I haven't really experienced hateful and angry comments. I should also explain this term to you because I'm going to be using it. Orthodox Christians often refer to Mary as the Theotokos, which is Greek. I guess it's like a title, calling her God Bearer, Mother of God. We like to use that title instead of just her name because, we honor her, especially. She's seen as our greatest saint that exists, And I noticed this before I was Orthodox last Lent. During major feasts, I guess, I don't want to call it holidays, but periods of the church where there's a lot of fasting or prayer, or it's leading up to Easter, Holy Week, Christmas, all that. There is a lot of anti-Marian content that comes out. And this Lent, I think this one video went viral of this guy making fun of what he calls Mary worshippers. If you don't know, this doesn't go for all Protestants. I'm not claiming all Protestants do this, okay? But there are a lot of Protestants that look at Catholics and Orthodox veneration and honor of Mary as worship, and like sometimes I think it's a borderline, they just hate her, honestly. But they call us Mary worshippers and idolaters, and I can't imagine how it feels. Well, actually, I can't imagine now for people that aren't religious to have, Christian people say, you're going to hell. Because that's basically what I've been told lately. It's what's been implied. But I made a tweet, this video, making fun of quote-unquote Mary worshippers by this Protestant person, I assume. Got a lot of traction, and I made a tweet saying, notice how all this slander against the Theotokos happens during major feasts of the church. And whenever I'm referring to like Protestants, I try to never mention Mary because they pretty much never call her Theotokos because they don't want to call her the Mother of God. So I try to never mention Mary because that's what they call her, and the term Protestants, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are searching that up to go reply on these posts anytime they see the mention of Mary and stuff. So I said Theotokos, and that's just what we call her. But you know what? Some Protestants still have found my tweet, so I guess they figured out what that means. They found my tweet, and a few people were not happy with it. I had one person being like, Mary can't hear you. She can't save you. Praying to her is idolatry. And implying that my soul is in danger for praying to her. Somebody else was like, you guys have a feast every 5 minutes. And I'm like, what's wrong? That's celebrating God and his church. And he said, you don't celebrate God nor his church, though. And I'm like, excuse me? How can you determine that? Well, you don't speak for me. And then he was replying to somebody else. I had to block the comments because it was annoying me. He replied to somebody else, and he ended up saying, it was like another Orthodox person, I think, and saying, well, you guys serve Satan. Like, wow. That is a crazy accusation to make, honestly. I'm gonna pull up my tweets, because I feel like I should give you an accurate idea of what was going on. This was like the week before Lent, by the way. Alright, here's my tweet. Notice how the Theotokos slander comes out during major feasts of the church. This person said, notice how Mary doesn't care. Notice how God still recognizes idolatry done in her name. Notice how God hates idolatry. Notice how idolatry still sends people to hell. Notice what will matter for your eternity. Notice that Mary doesn't matter for your eternity. Like, where did I say that I worshipped her? Where did I mention that? Where did I say she's responsible for my eternity? Someone else just like quote tweeted, or not quote tweeted, they just put in quotations, slander. Like, okay, yeah, slander, sure. And someone else said, searching for major feasts of the church in my Bible. Is fasting not in the Bible? Is 40 days of fasting not in here? That's Lent. You can literally find it in the Bible. And then people were getting angry, and something about me was like, look, you may not believe in it. I'm sure there are people watching this, if you're still watching, that probably don't believe in what I believe in, and that's fine. But we believe, of course, God terrifies the demons. They hate, like, the sign of the cross. And we also believe that they hate Mary because she bore God in her womb. I thought to myself, if I'm angering people, I'm not saying they have demons, that's not what I'm saying, but if I'm angering people, I'm also probably angering the demons, so I'm doing something right and I should keep doing it. So I decided to post a tweet. Right before this, I said, here on Twitter, you could quote a verse right out of the Bible and someone would still try to tell you it's unbiblical. And then I had some person arguing with me over the term unbiblical that I used. And maybe it's not, I don't know. They're trying to say you're lying. And I said, I'm not trying to lie. And they're claiming it's not in the Bible. That is not the same thing as saying biblical verses are unbiblical. No one believes that. I'm like, you get what I'm trying to say, right? I said, you could quote something on Twitter from the Bible and people would still try to tell you it's not Christian. So you know what I did? It's got 31,000 impressions. So you know what I did? I quoted the Hail Mary, which is, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. And you know what? Those are pulled straight from the Bible. They're not right next to each other. The verses aren't. but they are literally in the Bible. And yes, it is a Marian prayer, but it's taken from the Bible. And you know my tweet about saying you could quote the Bible and somebody would still try to tell you it's unbiblical? Guess what happened? Somebody said a prayer that ignores what Jesus himself said on the topic and quoted this verse, which is like, when Jesus was passing through a crowd, a woman had told him, "Blessed is the mother who gave you birth and nursed you." And Jesus saying, "Blessed rather are those who hear the word of God and obey it." And they use it like a gotcha. But I've heard Orthodox priests explain this verse. I don't want to teach on it, but it's not negating her honor. She is blessed among women. She is also blessed because she heard the word of God and obeyed it, you know? Somebody else. This was really rude. This honestly was. I closed the replies because people were just being mean. You know, I didn't like the replies that I just mentioned to you. So I closed it, you know? I had the right to do that. And somebody, this man, goes, "The word hail is one that refers to worship." Let me pull up Google real quick. Hail is a verb. Call out to someone to attract attention. Signal to stop. Acclaim enthusiastically as being a specified thing. Expressing greeting or acclaim. Does that sound like it means worship? And does that sound like it means to worship? Hail does not... The Hail Mary part is in the Bible. The angel literally says, you know, like, he greets her, "Hail Mary, full of grace." He's not... Are you going to say the angel's worshiping her now? The angel Gabriel's worshiping her? Really? It doesn't mean worship. You don't even know English grammar. So this guy goes, "The word hail is one that refers to worship." And this, pointing down emoji of my tweet, coward eliminated a direct response to it. First of all, I closed replies because people were being nasty to me and just irritating me, and I didn't want to deal with it. Second of all, this person seems like twice my age. I'm at least, and I'm like, you are calling somebody a 20... I mean, they don't know, but it's like, you're calling a 25-year-old woman a coward, and you're much older than me, like, seriously. And third of all, you're wrong. So I responded. I said, I was quoting the verses from the Bible. There's no need to be rude towards me. And he said, it would have helped your cause by referencing it in the context, instead of the Roman Catholic Church blanket praise of Mary. And this is where... I don't think he responded, but this is where I threw him for a loop. Because I may not be Catholic, and I may not agree completely theologically with Catholics, but I said, oh, I may not be Catholic, but I also have a deep reverence for the Mother of God. I only worship Christ, though, as do Catholics. He's the only one we should ever worship, of course. I'm like, don't get it wrong. I will defend my Catholic bros. If somebody's talking bad about our mother, we put aside our differences and we stand up for each other. That's one thing we'll do, you know? So yeah, just for quoting, they proved my point. You could quote something in the Bible and somebody would tell you it's unbiblical. Yep. Oh, there is another one. I didn't see the reply. Where was it? Hold on. I couldn't forget about this one. I don't know if it got deleted. I don't even see the... Oh, maybe because did I block him, maybe? Okay, somebody replied to this tweet of me quoting the Hail Mary, you know, the verses from the Bible, and he said, "You forgot Jesus, witch." By the way, he also went to another Orthodox lady. I think it was Orthodox. He went to another lady and also called her a witch for something. But he said, "You forgot Jesus, witch." First of all, your witch accusations are unfounded, but I'm also quoting from the Bible. Also, I guarantee you, if I were to post something about the apostles, like Peter, Paul, that didn't mention Jesus, I bet they'd be silent. But because it's Mary, because for some reason people have this hatred of her, they don't want to call it that, but it is. At least that's what it seems like to me. I know part of it is brainwashing a little bit. That's how I'm gonna put it, because when I was in Protestant church, I heard a little bit about, you know, Catholics worship Mary, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what, that's not even true. I don't believe that they do. Maybe some people I feel like can go overboard, but they don't worship her, neither do we. They honor and venerate her, but they don't believe she died for their sins and all that, and yeah, we don't worship her. So, some of that is just ingrained into your head, and you have to unlearn it, but yeah. Those were like the big tweets that I was getting hate on. And this, I don't know. And I was saying, like, people are calling me all this just for quoting the Bible and making a statement that all this happens before major feasts of the church. It's like, wow. Like, this is my first time experiencing Protestants being angry with me because, you know, a lot of Protestants don't like Catholics, and I'm not Catholic, but it's the most similar thing, I guess you could think of. That we have priests, we honor the Theotokos, all that. This is my first time experiencing this kind of, sometimes it's borderline harassment, I think, experiencing this towards me, and it's a little bit jarring. I'm also gonna mention these aren't necessarily, okay, maybe they're sort of Orthodox related. The religion ties into them somehow, but these just like have happened in like the past week, and I don't know why. And if I mention Catholics, Orthodox, Protestants being nasty to me, this does not represent everybody. There are a lot of Protestants that are very kind. There's all different kinds of Protestants, you know, that are very good people. And I feel like, you know, they would be in front of me when it comes to going to heaven because do I think they have the fullness of the faith? No. But are they a better Christian than me? Yeah. I am not going to judge anybody, and I'm sure that I am not a great example of a Christian. At least I don't feel like I am a lot, but I'm not asking for you to stroke my ego or anything, but I'm just saying, no, this is not representative of everybody. But you can see, whether it's Catholic or Protestants or Orthodox, there is a group of people that are just prevalent in the online space, and they're angry. They're very angry individuals, so I think all these incidents have happened in like the past week. So, like the other day when I went to an appointment, I decided to open my direct messages because I just, sometimes I get bored. I just want some drama. I don't want to cause drama, but I want to see the drama, you know? Somebody responded to me. Like, this person had replied under one of my posts, and like I responded, but I just tried to ignore them. And then he messaged me. This was a Catholic person messaging me, so they don't believe in my saints, you know? We share some saints before the split, but then after that we have different saints because we have theological differences, and, you know, we just can't have the same saints in the modern era after the split, if that makes sense. But this Catholic person sent me a DM. I don't feel like I mentioned anything that would like make him say this, but he was DMing me about wearing pants, saying, listen to your saint on modesty, saying that you shouldn't be cross-dressing, you shouldn't be wearing pants. I'm like, first of all, you don't believe in my saint because he's an Orthodox saint. You're Catholic. You don't believe in my saint. So why are you using my saint to, quote-unquote, teach me? Second of all, whether I wear pants or not is none of your business. Like, it's not for a random person I don't know to try to educate me on things, you know? I'd rather trust my priest. If he has never said anything about me wearing pants to confession, then there's nothing to, like, talk about, you know? And he was also like, wearing pants is a grave sin. And I just want LOL, like, okay. And I hadn't mentioned anything about pants. How does he know I wear pants? Like, where is this coming from? I haven't mentioned pants, so why are you trying to educate me or whatever? Tell me pants are a grave sin. Like, God is not stern and wrathful like that over you wearing pants. Like, dude, come on. Have a little bit more faith in God. Like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know. And then, you know, oh, yeah, there was another thing that was like really out of pocket, and I think I'd rather not just say it. If you go on my account, you may find it. I replied in a post, but yeah, that was out of pocket. Not relating to Orthodoxy at all, but I made a tweet, and it was supposed to be kind of like half joking, you know, kind of silly. The first part was joking, the second part wasn't. But I said, if you don't like women wearing pants, then you should get off my page. And I had a laughing emoji. Like, that was just supposed to be kind of silly, you know. And then I said, I don't get why people are being so mental about this. And then an Orthodox guy replies to this seemingly innocent tweet saying, women don't be arrogant during Lent challenge. And I'm like, really? About me joking that you should leave my page because I wear pants. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna delete this tweet. I'm gonna close the replies. I'm gonna delete this tweet. I'm not freaking arguing about this. And that actually made me upset because, you know, I'm kind of experiencing these Christian men that are not... My boyfriend doesn't speak to me this way. Christian men I don't know. And I mentioned this before. Somebody was mad that I didn't respond to a DM, and he's like, because of you, you know, you didn't respond to my DM in time. I was gonna look for a wife, but I'm not going to anymore, so I'm becoming a monk. I said, I'm not obligated to help you anyway. And they're like, yeah, you're not obligated to help, but it would have been the charitable thing for you to do. It's like, maybe I would have helped you if you still wanted it, if you weren't being a prick about it. But it's like, now I definitely won't help you. But I have random guys telling me, expecting me to be a matchmaker for them, getting mad when I don't respond on their time in a timely manner. Random guy telling me how I should dress. And I dress pretty conservatively. I like comfortable stuff. I don't like to draw attention to myself. I like to wear sweats and stuff. And I'm pretty tiny, so I don't like to show my arms and all that. But, you know, I have somebody telling me how I should dress. Now I have somebody telling me that I'm being arrogant for joking and also just trying to stand up for myself a little bit. And this is the latest thing that has happened today, and I haven't seen the reply yet. And I don't know if I should have quote tweeted it, but at the same time, like, this guy sounds a little bit psycho to me. But I made a post. This was a silly post. This was a silly thing, you know. I said, things Orthodox Kat has been dragged for. And these were some: wearing pants, not matchmaking for people, playing Mercy in Overwatch, being bad at Balatro, loving the Theotokos, being a woman, using a French word incorrectly. And I decided to look at the quotes, and somebody today quote tweeted this guy, said, "You're not Orthodox if you're a female on the internet. Log off." And I'm like, you can't be Orthodox if you're a woman that's online? And I went on his page. Oh, he quote tweeted me. Ooh, I gotta see this. Hold on. I found a post of him saying, he's responding to something, saying, "Get women offline. No singlehood for women. They're married off from their father's house, straight to their husbands. No time living alone. Governed by strict, yet caring patriarchy. Failure to do these, strict observance Thomism leads to this problem." I think Thomism is a Catholic thing. But yeah, and he told me when I made that I can't talk. When I made that post about saying things Orthodox Kat has been dragged for, a silly thing, this guy tells me to log off because I'm a woman, and I just quote tweet and I say no, and apparently he's responded, so let's go look in real time. But you can tell from that one post, this is not a mentally sane person. And he quote tweets, "Let women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted them to speak but to be subject, as the law saith." And this is from the Bible, by the way. "But if they would learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church." This is not, like, misogynistic towards women, because priests have explained this. Like, if I ask my priest, he's not going to tell me to just shut up and never speak. This talks about women in the church, and there's a reason why women don't serve in the church. Women aren't at least allowed to be like priests, not to teach in that capacity. So I'm pretty sure this is what this verse is referencing. So yeah, he's quote tweeting me with this. I'm not in church, I'm online, I'm not even teaching on Orthodox things. And he posted a picture saying, "The internet is an arena for human confrontation with the world and each other. It requires being opinionated, outspoken. Whereas those traits are really needed in women, they make the women venomous. It literally breaks them. They belong in the home, not in the wild." Twitter is the wild? Actually, I could see it. I feel like I am an innocent prey, and I have hunters circling me because I dare to say I love the Theotokos, or I wear pants. And then he says, "Behold, the quote-unquote online trad religious woman." Where did I say I was trad? Where did I say that? And her childishly petulant, defiant speech looks no different than if it had been uttered by a feminist. I remind you, I guess chuds, truly trad religious women do not exist online. It is always a deception. Online trad woman is an oxymoron. When did I claim to be trad? When did I claim that? You know what? I'm gonna screenshot. One of these ladies was telling me I should block him. I'm gonna screenshot this guy's quote. And then I'm gonna comment with it. I'm gonna say this guy is genuinely deranged. This doesn't necessarily mean women are supposed to be in the home. Sometimes they're meant to be married. Sometimes they're meant to be nuns. Sometimes they're meant to be preachers of the gospel. You don't know what God's plans are for certain people. So to say this, like, you know what, maybe God has allowed me to have this platform to uplift people, to talk about my journey, and maybe bring people to the church. Like, you don't have the right to say that to me. I don't listen to random people on the internet. I don't listen to these men who have no desire other than to see women shut up and be submissive to them. Submission is not the twisted way that they see it. It's not being petulant, whatever you want to call it, whatever they want to frame it. It's being a human being to stand up for myself and tell you that you're being ridiculous, that you have no right. If you're not my priest, then I don't care. I'm not gonna listen to you. If you think I'm petulant, go ahead. But you know what? You have no right to tell me to get offline because I am a woman. God made me a woman. If you don't like that, take it up with God. I hope you don't talk about any of the female saints this way. And just remember, in Orthodoxy, people are icons of God because we are made in his image. When you are disrespecting another person, when you're being nasty to them, you are disrespecting them as an icon, as an image of God. Women are also made in the image of God. To talk about women this way is to demean what God has created. So just remember that. So this is some of the stuff I've experienced lately. All this hate, I haven't gotten all this like kind of hate all at once before. Like, I've got Protestants hating on me, I've got random Christian men hating on me, all during Lent. I'm trying not to be, I don't really think I'm argumentative. I'd say that tweet where I said no was the most argumentative I've been. I've tried my best to be kind and tried to reason with people, and they just don't want it. I don't know. It's just a lot happening, a lot of hostility being directed towards me. And if I've offended people, if I genuinely done something wrong, then I didn't mean to, and I apologize for that. It's just like, I'm getting a lot all at once, you know. Some of it's a bit funny, but it's also just like, it feels like I'm being demeaned as a woman, and being demeaned as somebody that dares to love God's mother. And maybe some of this I'm bringing upon myself, and I need to take a step back. That also is just like, this shouldn't be happening in the first place, you know? But that's just the internet, and it's just really ironic. I've experienced this on my Orthodox account, and hardly any of this on my VTuber stuff, so that's interesting. But yeah, that's today's Kat Yaps podcast episode. I had plenty of drama to share with you. I hope you were able to enjoy. I know it's a lot of hostility, but I hope it's like entertaining to listen to. If it genuinely gets overwhelming, I know I have people to back me up and I can just step away, you know, but I don't want people to stop me from daring to exist. But yeah, that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon, guys. Bye, everybody.